Let's look at the vSphere on-premise environment. VM templates require vCenter license. So that you can clone the virtual machines, my setup didn't have any vCenter. How did I bring up virtual machines? Well, I used Packer to build the virtual machine directly from ISO image. Virtual machines dynamically pick up IP addresses. There was no way for me to fetch the IP addresses of virtual machines while building them. Especially, I need to know the router public address to establish the tunnel. How did I fix the IP addresses issue? Well, I exercised an old school trick. Using Packer, I hard coded a predefined MAC address in the router virtual machine. My DHCP server got the private IP reservation for this particular MAC address. So my DHCP server always gives the same IP for the router. And also my internet router, my internet gateway has static NAT configuration for this particular private IP address of router virtual machine. So router virtual machine will use the same IP address to talk to the internet. To connect back the virtual machines, I need to know the management IP address of them. It is not easy to find the IP of the client machine when provisioning, but you can fix this by using a file download in Packer. Just grab the IP address from the interface and store it in a file and download the file. You can get the management IP from the file. In public cloud, only my router virtual machines needed two network interfaces. If you take a typical VMware environment, you probably have a dedicated VM management interface in addition to the payload interfaces. So I deployed two network interfaces for each virtual machine. It is easy to assign multiple Ethernet interfaces to virtual machines using Packer. What is not easy is that order of interfaces. We don't know which one is the first or which one is the second in the Packer. Where I used Terraform and Ansible. Packer is for building a golden image. Packer usually shuts down and deletes virtual machines once build activity is completed. Since I am not using any vCenter, it's better for me to retain the image rather than rebuilding the virtual machine again. I used Terraform null resource to bring up the virtual machines when Packer shuts down the virtual machines. In the last stage, how I deleted the virtual machines after testing. Terraform state files don't have virtual machines, and Packer is not an appropriate tool to destroy the resources. Well, I used Ansible to shut down, delete the virtual machines. In vSphere firewalls, you need to allow SSH and VNC to build and provision virtual machines. vSphere firewall rules are not retained between reboots. You need to follow knowledge base mentioned here to make the rules as persistent. vSphere usually comes with self-signed certificate for the management. Please make sure that certificate has vSphere hostname or IP address. Your automation server should trust the certificate that you configured in the vSphere. I had some issue with untrusted certificates